30p Lee represents everything that's wrong with the United Kingdom at the moment. 30p Lee Anderson, if you don't know who he is a Tory MP who is now the deputy chairman of the Conservative Party, which is just mind-boggling to say the least, is an individual who believes that people should be able to sustain themselves off 30 pence meals and thus preventing them needing to go to food banks. How will these people sustain themselves on 30 pence meals? Well, obviously it would be by eating Tesco wheat biscuits. That will sustain you as an individual. That will give you all the nutrients you need to survive that 9-to-5 job, in some cases, God knows, 7-to-7 job. Who knows how hard they make us have our people working in the healthcare industry. They don't actually get breaks. And you know, he often says that people who use food banks just don't know how to budget. Well, that actually directly contrasts with what most studies and investigations into this find, that people who use food banks, people who are the poorest in our society, are actually the best at budgeting. Most of the time, they are negative budgeting, that they've cut everything so much that now, especially with the rise in inflation and cost of living, they cannot even afford food after budgeting to the bare minimums. They have paid all of their fixed costs, so their bills, their rent, mortgage, anything like that. They're at a point where they have spent approximately 90% of their money just doing that, as opposed to the average of 62%. And even 62% is way too high, frankly. These are the people he says can't budget. Well, you know, if we just look at Lee Anderson's expenses from the 21-22 period, I think he might be the one who can't budget. Okay, listen, I will be fair. I'll take out the staff costs and the office costs because, you know, staff and office stuff, but about £15,000 of travel and accommodation expenses from a person who is going to soon be earning £86,000 as a minimum. That sounds like he's not very good at budgeting his money. You know, if he were able to budget better, he wouldn't need to use public funds to pay for his accommodation or pay for his travel. Surely someone who can budget well won't need that, but obviously it's the people who are using food banks that are the issue. To show even more how out of touch Lee Anderson and most of the Tories are, Lee Anderson posted this photo of someone who works for him, and he went on this whole tirade about how, see, they budget well, they can go on holidays, they don't earn very much, which, saying someone who works for you doesn't really earn much is an indictment on you, 30p Lee, not anyone else. And he said they live comfortably, they're fine. And, you know, a little bit of digging and people found that this individual who he decided to put out there on his own volition, it seems, has links to very high-ranking military officials. That seems like it would be something that would be of a great benefit of someone growing up, as opposed to, say, someone whose parents were working class and had to work 9-to-5 jobs just to sustain themselves, and still probably do. We can't forget his most recent absolute media blunder, which was that he decided to talk about bringing back the death penalty in the UK. You know, someone who is a fairly high-ranking person in the Conservative Party now, saying that, you know, no one committed a crime after they were dead, forcing the government themselves to come out and say that's not our policy. I'm just baffled as to why he's still in the role at all, and who is in Rishi Sunak's ear whispering, hey Rishi, do you know how to stop that vote of no confidence the 1922 committee are planning? You should appoint 30p Lee to the deputy chairman role. It's just insane. To go and make something so stupid be said that the government has to come out and say, we do not believe in this, is absolutely incredibly insane. We could talk about Lee Anderson's lack of knowledge surrounding asylum seeking and international law, but frankly that would probably just have him go off on another tirade as to why he thinks certain men shouldn't be allowed the privilege of being able to live in the safety and security of their homes. And I think finally to see not just how out of touch the likes of Lee Anderson are, but how confident they are in themselves that they can get away with anything. We just need to look at his history with journalists. We could go a little bit further back and look at how he staged an interview he was having, and it's so much so the Daily Mail even called him out for it, which is insane because they're just begging the Tories for anything. The Daily Mail, he had his mate lie to them essentially and be like, oh, you know, this Lee Anderson guy, I don't know who he is, but he's great, I agree with him. And then his mate, I'm pretty sure, said some like really whack job stuff as well, where Lee Anderson was like, no. And then it came out that he told that guy to be very positive about him in the interview because he's his friend. That's the kind of person the Tories have in their party, the kind of people that they are giving more and more important roles to. And that's in the past. Very recently, he was recorded basically threatening journalists. He told the BBC, you have to be playing this entire interview, so it's not like you're misrepresenting me. And he was getting very aggressive, to say the least. How can you be so confident in being a bad person that you shoot yourself in the foot time and time again? And he seems to be doing what most Tories seem to be doing, or at least most Tories who are loyal to the ends of the earth to that party and their further movement to the right, that they will fail upwards. The likes of Michael Gove has spent his entire life failing upwards. It's insane. Sajid Javid was failing upwards until he decided, nah, no more. Nadine Dorries has been failing upwards. Rishi Sunak failed upwards into the prime ministership. Like, he lost to Liz Truss, and it took her absolutely destroying the economy for him to get the job, because they were like, someone take this job, because in a year and a half's time it seems inevitable that the Tories will lose. I don't think they're going to lose by as much of a landslide as people think so, because the British public seem to have a very, very short memory when it comes to the Conservative Party and their destruction of our country. So I think they're going to lose. They're not going to lose by a lot. But who I hope does lose is 30p Lee Anderson, because having people like that in charge of any decision making in this country is dangerous and stupid.